Hi guys, today we're going to talk about 6.6, discounts and markups. Notes. Our I can statement. I can use percent of discounts to find prices of items and use percent of markups to find selling prices of items. Discounts. A discount is a decrease in the original price of an item. A markup. A markup is something we want to use to make profit. So to make a profit, stores are going to charge more than what they pay. So a markup is an increase from what the store pays to the selling price. Okay, so let's take a look at our first example. Example 1, finding a sale price. The original price of shorts is $35. They are 25% off. What is the sale price? So the first thing I want to look at, I want to figure out if this is a discount of some sort, and it is because it's saying it's 25% off. So it says the original price or the whole amount, okay, of the price of the shorts is $35. So we have our part equals our percent times whole. So the part is what we're looking for, right? That would be the sale price of something. So the sale price we can label as X equals the percent off is what I'm getting discounted, and then multiply it times the whole amount. So the original amount that it's going to cost. So when I multiply 0.25 times 35, I get $8.75. So what that means is that I am getting a discount of $8.75. That does not mean that the cost of the shorts are going to be $8.35. So I still need to subtract. So I'm going to subtract the $8.75 from the 35. And I'm going to end up with $26.25. Okay, there is a second way that we could do this. So we can talk about the amount that you're paying. So the amount that you would pay if there was no discount is the 100% of the price. It's the full price. The amount that you would pay is $35. Okay, but it says that you are taking 25% off. So percentage-wise, the 100% or the $35 is being subtracted by 25%. So percent-wise, the amount that I'm paying for the shorts, sorry, let's undo that. So 100 minus 25 is going to give me 75% that I'm paying. So that means instead of doing the multiplication over here by 0.25, I'm still looking for my sale price or the part of the item. I am going to multiply it by 0.75. Still multiplying it by the 35 or the whole amount. And when I multiply the 0.75 times 35, I'm going to get the exact amount that I would pay for the item. Okay, so there are two ways to do it. Either way you choose is going to get you the same answer. But this one over here on the left, the one in blue, you're going to have to do an additional step of subtraction. You do technically do the subtraction up here, but you do that minus 25 first, and then you would get the 75% or the 0.75 that you multiply by in your equation. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try the next one on your own. Okay, let's look at example 2. We are going to be finding an original price. So we have a pair of shoes over here on the right. We are going to look for the original price. So right now, it says that it's 40% off, and it is going to be $33 that we are paying now for our item. So what I need to figure out, 40% off means that it's taken off of 100. So I'm going to do the 100% minus the 40% discount, which gives me the 60% that I would be paying. So I'm going to use my equation. A equals the percent times the whole. So the part is the A. Okay, so that would be my $33. That's the part, the new version, or the new amount. Then I would have my percent. The percent that I'm paying is the 60%. I'm not paying the 40%. That's how much off I'm getting. And then my whole, or my original price, is what I'm looking for. So if you want to use your W, you can, or you can use it multiplied by X. It's multiplication, not subtraction. So times X. Okay, and then we want to solve to get X all by itself, so I would divide by 0.6. So that leaves me with X, or the W if you kept it. The original price would be $55. If you are someone that prefers to use the proportion instead of the equation, you can set up a proportion, but you're still using your 60% instead of the 40%. We just have to really make sure that we understand what the question is asking or telling us. So the 40% off means that we're paying 60% of the price. So if I set up my proportion, I'm still going to have 60% over the 100, and I know that the $33 is the 60% off price, or the 40% off price. It is the 60% that I'm paying. So I need to put the X as the denominator. And then we can use our cross products to multiply and then divide. And we would still get X equals 55. So either way that you feel comfortable doing this is fine. All right, let's take a look at example 3. In example 3, it says a store pays $70 for a bicycle. The percent of markup is 20%. What is the selling price? So the store paid $70 for it, and they're going to mark it up 20%. So what I want to do is I want to use my percent equation. So A equals percent times the whole amount. My whole amount is the $70 that was paid. Okay. And then I'm going to multiply it by my 20% because I'm going to increase it by 20. And that's going to give me $14. So my part that I'm increasing it by is $14. But that does not mean that I'm going to sell it for $14. That means I have to increase my $70 price that I bought it for by $14 because I want to make a profit. So I'm going to sell it for more. Another way that you can do this is when we have 100% of something. When I have 100% of the $70, that means 100% of the $70 is the $70. So if I'm taking my 100% and I'm marking it up 20%, that means I'm paying 120% of my original price. So I can turn that into a decimal, which would be 1.2. So I'm going to use my equation still, just like I have over on the left. So I'm going to do the part equals the percent times the whole. But this time, instead of just the 0.2, I'm going to use the 1.2 instead of my percent, or in place of my percent. And I'm going to multiply it by the whole amount. The whole amount was still the 70. That's the 100% of the price that I paid. But now I'm including my 1 is representing the original price, and my 0.2 is representing the amount that I'm increasing it. So I'm going to multiply 70 times 1.2, and that is going to give me my answer directly. So it's going to give me my $84 directly instead of having to add. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, and you can try number 2 and number 3 on your own. Okay, let's talk about tip. When we go to dinner and you leave a tip is an increase. Okay, so it's an increase in pay or an increase in price. So that means if I'm leaving a 15% tip, that means I have to add that amount onto here. Now I'm not adding the 15%, I'm not adding 0.15 to 0.72, but I am going to have to find out 15% of that $18.72. So I'm going to take my $18.72, and that's my whole amount. So I have my part equals the percent times whole. The percent is my 15, so 0.15. And I'll multiply by the whole amount that I paid for my dinner. So that means I have 0.15 times 1872, which gives me $2.81. Now, I'm not leaving just $2.81 for my bill. That is added on to my 1872 dinner. So I'm going to take 1872. Remember to line up your decimals as you're adding them. Oops. Let's undo that. 1872 and 281 is going to give us 2153. Started adding a 22 there. So we get 2153 as my total for my dinner, with the tip included. Remember, you can do it the way we did above for the bike example. So we have the other way. Let's change color. So it could be we have 100% of the bill, which is the 1872. I can add that 15% to it, which gives me 115%, which means that it could be a 1.15 that I would use instead of my 15%. So I'm still using the equation, A equals percent times the whole, or part equals percent times whole. So my part that I would be paying, the amount that I would be paying, is going to be what I'm finding. My percent is 1.15, and my W is my whole amount. So I would multiply that times 1872. 72. And remember that the 1 here is talking about the whole amount of the 1872, and then the 15, the 0.15, is referring to the amount added on. Okay? All right, let's look at example 5. So just like tip, a tax is going to be an increase. So it's going to be an increase in price. So if you're buying a shirt for $23.98 and it says the sales tax is 7%, what is the total amount of money you will pay for the shirt? So we're going to take $23.98, then multiply it by 0.07. Don't forget to put the 0 in there, otherwise you're multiplying it by 70%. So I'm going to find my part. When I multiply those two things together, I get 168. So that means the total amount that I would be paying for the shirt is $23.98 plus the 168. You have to line up your decimals. So you would get $25.66. Okay. Now, again, you can do it the other way that we had talked about before. Okay, we're going to take that 100%, and again, we're increasing it by 7%. So I would multiply it by 1.07. So I would take the $23.98, multiply it by 1.07 instead of the 0.07. And that would give me the same total of $25.66 that I had before. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at a couple more examples. I'm just going to walk through one or two of each of these, and then you can try the rest on your own. So if the original price is $80 and we're looking at a discount of 20%, that means I'm decreasing my price by 20%. So that means I need to take my $80 and multiply it by 0.20. And when I multiply those two things together, I'm going to get 16. And then I need to take my $80 and subtract that 16. And that will give me my $64 price. So my sale price is going to be $64. Now, you could do this a different way. You could take the amount, so this is the percent of discount. If you wanted to talk about the amount that you were paying, 20% is the discount. The amount that you're paying is 80%. So you could take the $80 and multiply it by the 0.8, and it will give you your $64 right away. Okay, go ahead and try the next 4 on your own. Okay, let's look at example 6. We have a 25% discount and the sale price is $40. So that means we are paying, instead of a 25% discount, we are paying 75% of the price. So we can set up a proportion or an equation. So if I know that the $40 is the 75% that I'm paying, remember, percent always goes over 100. The $40 is the amount that I'm paying. So then we can just use our cross products.